My old high school classmate broke into my car, then robbed me and proceeded to spend a decade aggressively stalking me and making my life hell. So I got the ultimate revenge. When I got married at 20, I was a person who severely lacked street smarts and would sometimes get taken advantage of in our neighborhood in Chicago. I was in nursing school at the time, and during a particular semester of nursing school I had a very early clinical rotation once a week. I was 21 at the time, and being not a morning person, in order to maximize the amount of time I spent asleep, I started loading all my stuff into my car the night before: bags, books, and even my purse in full view. One particular night before clinical rotation, I asked my husband Bobby to get a book from my car. Bobby does so, but forgets to lock the door. The next morning when I get to my car, I note that my purse is gone. I ended up filing a police report. I was most concerned because I had just gotten this new job as a nurse's aide at a hospital, and I had my social security card still sitting in my wallet. Almost immediately after the theft, strange things start to happen. We started getting ding-dong ditches all hours of the day and night. Someone vandalized mine, Nick's, a friend who lived in our basement, and Bob's cars with strange graffiti, NZ symbols, hangman, etc., egged our house, slashed Nick's tires. We first chalked it up to neighborhood pranksters, but when we started having damages that cost some decent money, we called the police. Not to mention, one day when Bob was mowing the lawn, he noticed piles of cigarette butts outside the bedroom window. The police came out, pretty much did nothing but take a report, and told us to perhaps invest in car alarms and some brighter floodlights for the driveway. A few weeks after this, at 2:30 in the morning, I got a call on my cell. It was the police in a neighboring town. They had picked up someone who had my ID on him, someone named Craig. When they asked why he had someone else's ID on him, he claimed I was his girlfriend. The cop called me because my name had popped up that I'd filed a police report for theft. I assured the cops I'd never heard of him before, and was told that I could pick up my ID at the police station within the next few days. Things really started to escalate at that point, but I still didn't make the connection that perhaps these incidents were related. I started getting strange messages on MySpace as well as on Facebook, from clearly fake accounts with long-winded messages which were centered around me that made no sense. This person started messaging friends of mine as well. I deleted MySpace and blocked the person on Facebook, but new accounts kept getting created. Somehow this person got my email address and started sending emails as well. I had no idea who this person could be, but they seemed to know details about me that indicated that this was either someone I knew, or knew someone I knew. The messages weren't overtly threatening, but creepy enough to where I started becoming uncomfortable, especially when he mentioned liking my red painted toes. They were red. One night, my friend Lauren and I were sitting on the couch watching TV. Bob, Lauren's husband, and a few other friends had gone out for the night. As we're sitting around chilling, we hear something that sounds like someone shaking the garage door. I go and check the garage, but nothing seems out of the ordinary. We had occasional issues with raccoons, so I chalked it up to that. But the noise keeps continuing. Lauren and I are getting freaked out at this point. The garage sounds moved now to the kitchen window, a distinct sound of someone knocking or scratching hard on the windows. We called our husbands, who did not answer. At this point, we debate calling the police. As we debate, I see Lauren's face go sheet white and look past me. I spin around, and I can see the locked, fortunately, handle to the front door wiggling. We were seated near the kitchen, and we jumped up. Lauren grabs a knife from the butcher block on the counter. I grab a small hammer from the junk drawer. We book it to the back of the house where the bedrooms are, cell phone in hand, and lock ourselves in one of the bedrooms and call the police. The dispatcher tells us to stay on the line, move furniture in front of the door if possible, and the police are on the way. We shove a dresser in front of the door, knife and hammer in hand. We agreed if this a-hole was going to come in, he might be bigger or stronger than us, but we're not going down without a fight. We plan, if he gets in before the cops, I go for the dome with the hammer, she goes somewhere else with the knife. Cops show up, banging on the front door, shouting police. We can see the red and blue lights through the window. We leave the room, let the cops in. They find no signs of anyone present or evidence of an attempted break-in. They take a report. In the meanwhile, our husbands finally call us back. They come home and the cops leave. Flash forward a few months. A very close friend of ours, Sean, was renovating his apartment and needed a place to crash along with his girlfriend. Bob and I decided he could stay in the third bedroom in our house. The first night Sean stays with us, we are awakened at 2 in the morning by Sean screaming at someone. Bob and I jump out of bed and rush into the hall, and to Sean's room. Sean and his girl are wide awake, lights on, looking totally freaked out. The screen is sliced and flopping in the wind. Sean told us he woke up to someone using what he thought was a knife on the screen and started climbing in through the window. We call the cops. They come out and take a statement. Sean describes the guy as best he could. A white male, young looking, semi-shaved head with what looked like darker hair. Cops dust for fingerprints, comes back as a match for Craig. Turns out, I knew who he was, vaguely. He was a year younger than me and we had gone to the same high school, but I couldn't remember having any significant interactions with him. He lived with his parents only a few blocks from my parents' house. Upon realizing that Sean had just moved in, the cop makes a statement that chilled us all. He probably didn't realize anyone was staying in this bedroom, and thought the room would be empty. Cops go there, arrest him. He suddenly has quite the story for them. Him and I were secret lovers. I was ignoring him. We had a relationship. He also had been allowed into my home many times. I implored. He gets charged with something like trespassing or breaking and entering, and does light time for it, maybe a month, and has to pay a fine. In the meanwhile, I get a restraining order on him. He gets out, and I hear nothing from him. I also develop a completely irrational fear of first-floor windows, but things only escalate from here.